of Jesus. So he invites us to walk in obedience, he invites us to be peacemakers in the Beatitudes, he invites us to pursue righteousness, he invites us to live a life of integrity, he invites us to love and care for our neighbors, and invites us to live a life of accountability to God. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built. But you give us the best alternative to living. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for your words, for your teaching, for your instruction. I pray for myself as I pray for my brothers and sisters that as we build careers, as we build lives, as we go about the many things we pursue in life, we will build on the rock. We will hear your teaching and put it in practice. So bless us today, bless every presenter today, bless our conversations and interactions. This I ask in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Canon, Engineer Paul Waswa Sembilo, and forgive my first mistake on your name. I thank you very much for the devotion. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I think at this point in time, I would like to request the Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, um, the CoMMPASS PI, and the representative from the German embassy to come to the high table. And as they do that, amidst us, I really want to welcome the Vice Chancellor from University of Livingstonia. Is yes, the very Reverend Associate Professor Timothy Nyasuru. I also would like to welcome the board chair of the University Council, but also the chairman of the National Council of Higher Education of Malawi, Professor John Kalege Saka. I would also like to welcome Mary Sibande, the Director of Research from the University of Livingstonia. They also came with a student for this conference, Chisomo Sumani. Yes, you're very, very welcome. And on the point of students, dear Vice Chancellor, we have students covering this conference. We have students from Makerere University. We also have students from the Uganda Christian University. And these are mentored for the coverage of the conference today by Dominic. Dominic, if you could please stand up. Yes. By Professor Senoga, by Mr. Senoga behind there. We also have Mr. Wilson Kaija from Makerere University. So these are, yes, the trio are mentoring our students on the conference coverage. But we also have Dr. Chizito Kanyoma from MUBAS. Yes, we also have a student coming from that side as well, Kalara Pili. You're all very, very welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, our program is really very packed and very, very informative, but we can only partake of that fully if we manage the time, and we are going to work within the time. Thank you very much for that indulgence. And at this point in time, I would also like to welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Raf. You're very, very, very welcome. Yes, without wasting any more time, allow me to welcome Professor Monica Chibita to talk up who is the co-PI. And Professor Monica, after your brief to us, you welcome Professor Susan. Very much.
Thank you very much, MC, and a warm welcome to everybody. The recognitions have been done. I seek your permission not to repeat them. I recognize each of you. My job right now is to go through as quickly as possible so that Professor Suzanne can come on board, because I know there are many people who must leave soon. So I just would like to, first of all, thank the organizing committee, and you'll probably not see many of them, but if you see anybody in a blue t-shirt or a UCU t-shirt, that's a member of the organizing committee. Please thank them at break time for the great job in organizing this. I'd like to welcome all our visitors. I'm privileged to be here because Mr. John Semakula actually was the chairperson of the local organizing committee, but he left for sabbatical just before the conference. So I had to take over at that point. We are very, very privileged to be part of the CoMMPASS project. And as it unfolds today, as Professor Fengler presents the details of it and all, you will realize that it is actually an honor to be a part of it. We thank our top management for honoring us by being present, even though you have cabinet in a few minutes, or you've actually put it off for us. So we really appreciate that. We thank our students because they have been very, very cooperative, even though they are supposed to be on break. I would like to take this opportunity to invite Professor Suzanne Fengler, who will unveil the CoMMPASS project for us so that we know what it is about before the other speakers come on board. I wish you all a wonderful week, and please, if you have any challenges, don't hesitate. I also give a blanket apology for anything that may go wrong in the course of the week, because I'm sure something will, even though we try our best. Thank you. Professor Fengler.
Thank you so much, dear Professor Monica, dear Sister Monica, I would like to say, because this project has built a lot already. We heard the wonderful words of the Reverend about building, and I think what this project has achieved most is building lasting networks, lasting friendships, lasting collegiality. I think it will last for a lifetime. I would dare to say so. And I think this is even more than you can expect from an academic project. So I'm so grateful for that. And this has only been possible because of the spirit, the energy, the enthusiasm, so much more than academic cooperation that we had in this consortium, thanks to everybody who was involved. So I would like to extend a warm, warm thank to all consortium members, to all project partners, to the university, Uganda Christian University, housing us today, giving us a home, to the Vice Chancellor, to the Dean. Thank you very much also to the German Embassy being represented here. So wonderful that you're coming, because you and the EU have been the driving forces. We could only actually establish the network that CoMMPASS has been built upon by several projects funded by the German Foreign Office. So actually it's the German Foreign Office who was behind all that. So thank you very much for that again. So we will have a lot of discussions about the outcome of CoMMPASS. Everybody, I think, who is here in the room is so much informed about it. We created an e-learning platform, also with a fantastic insight from Makerere's IT ODL team. Godfrey is here today, so I'm so blessed that we have him. We created a course of 14 modules that have been used by more than 1,000 African students so far, and our network is much farther than the 6 African countries and the 2 European countries involved in that project, because we have already students from, Michelle, I think it's more than 30 African countries taking part into this e-learning courses, and we hope to expand it. And we are sure to expand it because this is, as said, a really lasting network, not only of persons, but of institutions, of ideas, and of spirits. So this is a wonderful thing I think we have achieved in the past 3 years, thanks to this generous funding by the European Union. This is also the moment to thank again Professor Monica and Dr. Fred from UCU for being our fantastic hosts. Also, thank you so much for our dear colleagues from Makerere University. I think it's all a big family that we have here in Uganda and who is collaborating in making this project happen. Thank you so much for this. And let me please extend my very, very special thanks to Dr. Michel Leroy and to Dominic Speck, which is also here in the room. Dominic, please raise your hand, because this project would not have been possible without Dominic. I remember it's about 4.5 years ago that Dominic and I sat in Dortmund and that we went through this very complicated submission process for such a proposal. It's very comprehensive. It takes a lot of patience, and even after you got that proposal, you have to do a lot of bureaucracy. And it's really thanks to Dominic that we get to this point. So Dominic brought us here. Big applause to Dominic, please. And at the same time, thank you so much to dear Michelle. You have been the heart and soul of this project. You are the heart and soul of the project, tying all dots together, having constant oversight, pushing us to new boundaries and new borders, because you always had this visionary approach of making it a huge project, extending even the 6 African countries we involved, and you made that happen, that visionary approach, and you put so much hard blood in that project, and we see it, we feel it, it's a warm project, it's a living project, and that really goes to the heart, and this is because of your work, Michelle. Thank you so much. um, I'm looking forward to 5 wonderful conference days. It's a long project, a long journey we are embarking today. And I think we will have new insights during this week. We will engage with the students who are on board, which is fantastic. We're just coming from a conference that has had its kickoff meeting during the weekend. So we sincerely hope this will not be the last project involving our dear Ugandan partners, but our first one, followed by many, many, many others. So we have this strong intention, and I think everybody here is so committed to continue our work. So I would say the blessings are on this project already, and let's have a wonderful conference week. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Fengler. At this point in time, I would like to welcome the Dean, Professor Chwanka, who will Yes, as Professor Chwanka makes his way, allow me to recognize the student, mentor from Thomas Sankara University, Asha Traore. Yes, aha. And also I would like to welcome Professor Gabin from Joseph Kizebo University, seated right there.
Good morning, everyone. Give us a brief second so that we can, in the meantime, uh, the Vice Chancellor, UCU, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, I forgot to say the name, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Aaron Muchenjezi, the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Professor John Mulindwa Chitayimbwa, our keynote speakers in the program. There are two, Professor Susan Fengler and our keynote speaker, Professor Ralph Kemfe Leo. I've tried. I hope I've got it. All CoMMPASS PIs and co-PIs. We have very many of them here. All representatives from various universities, Makerere and Daystar and so on. All colleagues from various universities and various students. You are very welcome to UCU. I stand here and I've already said the names of the quick. sorry. I've already done the protocols, and let me just wind up by saying all protocols observed. Okay, so let me begin with what is the School of UCU and then the School of Journalism, Media and Communication. Our vision is a center, the vision of the university, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. And this is what we are doing today, exhibiting it, not just talking, but doing it. UCU's mission is to equip our students for productive, holistic lives of Christian faith and service. That's very important. It's core to what we do here. The School of Journalism, Media and Communication, our mission is to equip Christian-centered media professionals for a dynamic society. That's what we are trying to demonstrate today with this engagement about migration, communicating migration, and so on and so forth. The background of the school is it was founded as a department under the Faculty of Education, School of Education in 2000 and in 2018 to 21, it became the Faculty of Journalism, Media and Communication. And in 2021, it was evolved into the school, the present School of Journalism, Media and Communication. Currently, we have two departments, the Postgraduate Studies and Research, headed by the very vibrant, vigorous Dr. Fred Kakoza, who is the Master of Ceremony today. The Undergraduate Studies is headed by Mr. John Semakula, who is on sabbatical. The acting head is Dr. Samuel Kazibwe. The undergraduate program has 2 degree programs, one at the main campus, and then we have a satellite campus at the Bishop Barham University College in Kabale, and that one has 1 degree program, a diploma program. Our postgraduate program has a master's in journalism, strategic communication. We had 2 and we eventually merged them into 1. And we have a PhD in journalism, media and communication. Yeah. Okay. So the undergraduate program, I think this is it. Okay. So I think there's one more before that. Okay. Before one. Yeah. Okay. So the the postgraduate program, our staff, we boast of two full professors. This is special for us because this is the only school I think that can boast of two full professors, and one associate professor and two PhD holders. Okay, go on. Research, again, this is important to us. We boast of research. Here, as we say, center of excellence cannot be a center of excellence without publication. Two master students published papers in the past 2 years, and we're very proud of that because those are the first publication that we had. Very important. Our teaching staff continue to publish. One published 3 papers last year in the name of Dr. Samuel Kaziwe, and he was given accolades in the as we celebrated those who made significant achievements in last year. 2 of our staff are fellows of Uganda National Academy of Science. Again, the excellence that we're shooting for. We have several people who have got postdoc awards, and our students have won several national awards. Again, the excellence that we are talking about. Partnerships, and this is what we are, partly why we are here. We have a NORAD project, and this is aimed at capacity building, and the grant has really helped us to grow. It has helped us to have our faculty go to and do PhD programs all over Africa and elsewhere, which is really important. That project started in 2013, and we have had 2 phases, and the second phase is ending next year, and hopefully we shall have another phase. The PI of this project is Professor Taria Skajadel, and the co-PI is Professor Monica. Through this, we get also staff from the partner universities, NLA, University College in Norway, KwaZulu-Natal, University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, University of Rwanda, and Professor Margaret Juko has been very active in this, was the co-PI there. Now we have a new co-PI. The CoMMPASS project focuses on strengthening migration reporting in sub-Saharan Africa. This is, of course, Professor Fengler has talked about this, so I'm not going to say much about that. There are various co-PIs. I had changed the slide. There are various co-PIs. You know them. They have been talked about. And then we also have the Vanguard project, which focuses on addressing factors contributing to improved vaccine uptake in vulnerable communities. That shows you, again, what we are doing in this school. And that project is, the PI is Professor Monica Chibita, and the co-PI is Dr. Annette Kaz. You have one more? Okay, so another project that we are doing is Olutindo Research Project. This focuses on participatory communication to reduce teenage pregnancy. This is an interdisciplinary research project. It involves the School of Journalism, Media and Communication, the School of Social Sciences, the School of Public Health, and the School of Business. I am the PI, and my co-PI is Dr. Jeremy Waiswa, and I have 4 other team members from those schools that I've mentioned. The partnerships are very key to building, capacity building. They've been very helpful in research and in teaching. And therefore, and that's why we are here. So we value these partnerships, and we hope for more partnerships in the future. Thank you very much, colleagues and all. Thank you. I now have the honor to invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Associate Professor John Mulindwa Chitaimbwa, to come and address the congregation.
A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. We are happy to have you here at Uganda Christian University. Uganda Christian University is a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. And as we welcome you here this morning, I was thinking about the title of the CoMMPASS. But as I think about it, I want to take this opportunity to welcome our distinguished guests to Uganda Christian University. I'm going to use part of what I'm going to say to welcome you fully. And so all protocol observed. And when you think about CoMMPASS, there's that important word that you teased out, migration. And when you think migration, and you're at Uganda Christian University, or you are in Uganda, then you realize that you are all back home. Because if you look at the literature, and you look at what we call the out of Africa theory, the out of Africa theory states that, or argues that Homo sapiens, or people the way we know them, the modern person, migrated out of Africa. And Africa, if you think about it, is the cradle for life. And if you think about the Africa, if now you zero down to Africa, and you look at that place where that modern ancestor, the sapien, was, then you zero down to the East African region, and you zero down to that area called Katanga in the Congo, but also the western central part of Uganda. You realize that this, where you are, friends, is where you migrated from. And so we wanted to welcome you back home. And there have been several arguments that have been made to justify this modern theory that is called out of Africa. And a lot of the work that has been done by geneticists who looked at somebody's DNA. They compared the DNA, and they realized that it was very important. They realized that the diversity, if you looked at my genome, my DNA sequence, and you looked at the VC's DNA sequence, and you looked at the sequence of the sequences of all Ugandans in this room, you realize that there is greater diversity amongst those DNA sequences than, for example, the diversity we see across continents. If you look at the diversity in the whole world, there is greater diversity within this region, within Africa, than there is across the entire world. And they explain the diversity. And they use the DNA sequences to explain that diversity. But for me, who comes from Africa, and who comes from this cradle of life, I realized that actually he could have done it much simply by just looking at language. If you looked at just the languages, communication within Uganda or within Congo, Katanga, what you would call the Katanga region, there is more diversity in the languages within this region than you would find elsewhere in the world. So that diversity at a communication level is seen, and you can, all the things that we have talked about as a result of studying the genome, the human genome, you can see at a communication level. And so when I looked at migration, I was saying, wow, we do have now people interested in communication that can eventually now lead us to explain a lot of the unknown things. If when you had our MC, when he was communicating, he was apologizing for pronouncing certain names. And I think for somebody coming out of Africa, you wonder whether some people think that in Africa it is only one particular tribe or something. But there is more diversity within Africa than any diversity you'll see across the entire world. And that's what is very interesting about this. The biologists have a branch called phylogeography that talks about this kind of thing that I'm talking about. But I think this phylogeography can very well be done within communication. And I think the CoMMPASS project is one such project that can really unearth this very, very good treasure within the communication. When you look at, for example, the Bantu, and you look at how the Bantu, the migrations out of Katanga and then back, you can really enjoy seeing what, for example, if you think about the word nyama, meat, and then you look at how it has changed. By the time you reach South Africa, it is nyama, and then it comes back, but it's the same word. And so, Susan and colleagues, we want to thank you for having teased out and picked out something very important in terms of communication, communicating migration, but also understanding what this migration does and educating our journalists and our communicators, because when they are educated, then the whole of our communities are communicated because are educated, because these are the people that help us to understand and to learn. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I would like to welcome you back home. I hope you now understand that we are all home. Please feel at home, and the rest of the things we shall learn when we are here at home. Without wasting a lot of time, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, at this particular juncture to take this singular honor to welcome to the podium Miss Alicia from the German Embassy, who is here to represent the embassy, but also as one of the partners of the EU that have greatly supported this project. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together as we welcome that person. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The VC of the Ugandan Christian University, keynote speakers, professor and academics. Good morning. So the MC did a really good job in pronouncing my name, but let me just repeat it. So my name is Alicia van den Boom, and I'm the head of cooperation from the German Embassy, representing the ambassador today. I have now been based here in Kampala for 2 years, but I want to extend a special welcome to my colleagues from Burkina Faso, because before I was based in Burkina Faso and I haven't seen Danfani and Kokodunda in a while, so I'm very happy to have you here today. I'm not going to share details about the CoMMPASS project because you know it a lot better than I do. As a representative of the German Embassy, I want to share a little bit our political thoughts on the project. Why does Germany or why does the European Union support projects like this one? And I would like to point out 3 key issues. The first one has actually already been mentioned to me this morning, because it's not only about this particular project. A collaboration like this, stretching across continents, across language barriers, is always more than just the single project, because it establishes a network. It establishes contacts. You being here today and getting to know each other on a personal level will enable you to have further collaborations in the future. So this will last. Even when the project ends, this is going to still be there. And I'm particularly happy that you're leveraging a lot the digital tools. They have been around for a while. I'm not going to say it's new that you have e-learning, but they're still very much underused. At German universities, you still have a lot of exams taken by hand in writing, and all the teaching is done person to person. But now we have these tools and we should really use it, and then also use it to hear different voices from all around the world. So I want to already congratulate you for being here and having made all these friends and contacts. The second point I would like to mention is media. We live in a world where when you look at the reports of Reporters Without Borders, journalism is under attack everywhere from all different sides. And you have to have a lot of courage to be actually a journalist. And that applies to all the countries my country included, we also have seen more violent attacks on journalists in the last year than we have ever before. And this is worrisome. So it is very important that the journalists are well educated and well equipped to report and work in this world. Also, the new technologies that I mentioned before, social media, it's a good platform, but it also helps a lot to spread false information. So journalists have a responsibility to make sure what they're reporting is based on facts and that this is verifiable, and you uphold the code of conduct for good media. And the third topic I would like to point out is migration. I mean, this is the content of what you have been doing. And again, we live in a world of a lot of superlatives, unfortunately. There are more people on the move than have ever been recorded. Yes, maybe in the past, in history, no, people have been moving, but then we didn't have nation states, we didn't have borders, so we had a lot different story. And migration can take on a lot of different forms. I mean, I have seen the very positive side. Being a member of the European Union, I was able to study and work in a lot of different places. I went to Poland, I went to France, I didn't need the visa. So for me, that was a very good experience. But we all know that not all migration experiences are positive. Uganda, you're hosting now almost 2 million refugees. So you see what forced migration from your neighboring countries means for the people that come here. And then you have the human trafficking side, which also creates some really horrific stories. But all these stories need to be told. And you need people to be able to tell them in a way that people understand and can relate and can actually understand what it means. And this is, from my point of view, very relevant for Europe. I mean, we're now here in Africa, and I know you're African journalists, but these stories also end up in Europe. And if we see the whole anti-refugee rhetoric that we see more and more coming up, this is because people don't actually understand what it means to be a refugee. It's not fun to leave your country. So I think it's really important that you now, through this project, are enabled to report on these issues in a way that people will read your stories and will understand better. So I want to really congratulate you for completing this project successfully. I hope that you will have a very successful 5 days where you can see also how to take that further. And I'm very happy that the TU Dortmund, which obviously is close to my heart as they are a German university, will continue to be engaged. I heard they're having a new project with Makerere University this time, but they will still be active in and with Uganda. And so I hope I'll be invited to more of these events. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Alicia. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, about the geography of this place. So on my right, down there, there is good stuff for the gentlemen, and on my left, down there, there's good stuff for the ladies if you want to take a walk around during the break or something like that. I also want to welcome Aminata. Aminata, yes, Aminata is part of the mentors for us student reporters for this conference. Now, what stands between me and the next speaker is me. But I can't want to invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, to be led by a distinguished scholar in this field of communication. He's a professor of communication, but also within the church hierarchy. He's a canon of the Church of Uganda, and he's a man of a great vision and one who has done tremendous work for us as a university. Ladies and gentlemen, can I request you to put your hands together as we welcome the coolest Vice Chancellor south of the Sahara, and Professor Aaron Mushenjes to come and address us.
What did he just say? I'm not sure about that. Good morning and welcome to Uganda Christian University. our dear EU and the German Embassy, Madame Alicia, my colleague, the Vice Chancellors present, and DVCs, the PIs, partner institutions, fellow scholars, welcome to Uganda. Let me begin by congratulating all of you on the campus project for all the achievements you've registered. Professor Monica Chibita just gave me a summary of the wonderful things you've done, and I was impressed by all the great outcomes that you set out to achieve, and indeed you have achieved. Thank you for choosing UCU as one of your partners. I'm aware that the campus project set out to empower African journalists and journalism students to report migration, mostly with accuracy, ethics, and impact. I've also been told that your project was rooted as much as possible in local realities. And that means that in whatever you did, you are conscious of the circumstances that surround migration and the effects it has on the people that are affected, whether willingly or unwillingly, and the challenges of reporting such some circumstances. Let me congratulate you on all these outcomes. There's so many people that you have trained. I saw a number of 2,357 people that have been equipped through different forms of training, 37 universities that have been impacted, both here in Africa and beyond, so many African countries that have participated in different activities, as well as countries in Europe, and courses that have been developed, as well as research that has been done, which will in the end inform teaching and learning, but also generate data that will help us make better decisions in our countries on migration and refugees. Migration, as Alicia has just said, can be voluntary, like when we choose to move to another area in search of better opportunities. And many of us have moved at some point in life from one location to another in search of better opportunities. And as the DVC explained, we all came from somewhere. Sometimes when I see people denying others visas, I ask myself, but people who are denying others visas also came from somewhere. That's not your original habitation. When you think of countries like the US, Canada, they are refugee countries. They are really refugee countries because the original inhabitants of those countries are now small minorities. And so, if you look at the history of Europe, because in my secondary school I studied the history of Europe, Europe is really a conglomeration of people that have moved from all over the continent and beyond. Few people can claim that is the original home. But sometimes migration is also involuntary, like when unfortunate circumstances force you to leave the area where you have lived all of your lives, and then you are forced to go somewhere else without your own choice. And if you look at the world today, forced migration is a very serious reality. Forced migration is a serious reality. How we perceive of this reality as journalists and journalism educators is very, very important. How do we report on these kinds of circumstances that force people to leave where they have lived and go somewhere else? The EU and the UK, for example, now receive so many desperate people across the seas looking for safety because they're escaping from war and other disasters. Uganda itself, as you've heard, now hosts about 2 million refugees, mostly from the Great Lakes region. We are surrounded by war in Congo, in South Sudan, in Sudan, and other places. The USA keeps getting all these waves of migrants from Latin America and the Caribbean, and sometimes the causes are there for us to see. Now, migration is therefore always intertwined with the pain of people. When we report migration, are we aware that we are also reporting on the pain that people suffer? If you look at situations like in Gaza, you wonder how people continue to live in that kind of place after all that they have gone through. Beyond reporting and researching migration, I hope that you as the PIs and researchers on these projects will also highlight the fact that the factors that foment the destabilization of communities, nations, and regions, leading to forced disruption of people's lives. Increasingly, we are seeing a return to the imperial era where stronger nations invade others and get what they want and destabilize them because they do not agree with the leaders there. Increasingly, we see raw materials grabbing by powerful nations from weaker nations, throwing the realities of proper trade into the doldrums. We've been taught all along that when you do trade, you exchange value. If I have gold, you bring me what I don't have and you take my gold and we exchange value. But now, if you have raw materials, you are in danger. You're in danger of being destabilized by the strong. You see imperial adventures of stronger nations taking over other countries because they do not agree with them, such as what you see in Ukraine and other places. Therefore, as we report on migration, I would like to say that as journalists, we also highlight the plight that reporters increasingly suffer when they dare to speak on some of these unfortunate realities. I have seen countries that do not condone journalists that report on some of these things if they go against the normal or the stereotypical line that the nations want to hear. And so as journalists and media trainers, this is a very important project that has brought these things to the fore. And I hope that out of the research you've done, we'll see papers that will bring these issues to the attention of policymakers, to the attention of regional bodies and international bodies that are supposed to debate and hold our countries to account for these actions that they sometimes do. And so I hope that we will see more cooperation coming out of this, more networks being built beyond the campus project, and more opportunities created for our students and for our faculty and staff. So let me say well done to the PIs. Good job on what you have done. Thank you for connecting our people to see the realities of these things that affect our world, the world today. And I hope that out of the friendships you have built, more partnerships will arise, and more researches will be done to highlight the issue of migration, what causes it, and its impact on our global reality. Welcome to UCU. I hope you'll have time to walk around and enjoy your stay, but I also hope they will give you a chance to visit places like Jinja and perhaps Machison to see a bit of Uganda, because Uganda is one of the beautiful countries in Africa for sure. This is not something we are boasting about. When God created Uganda, He gave us everything generously. And so if you want to migrate here, you're also welcome, as long as you did it the right way. So I hope you enjoy your stay. God bless you. Am I also supposed to declare that okay, by the powers they have entrusted to me, I now have the honor to declare this seminar conference officially open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our coolest VC, for opening this conference and for very interesting observations that you have made. Actually, we have a whole 5 days to discuss all the issues that you have pointed out in your speech. So I implore you to stay with us the whole 5 days such that we can exchange ideas and knowledge. So colleagues, I would like to welcome Associate Professor Emily Comfort Marakto uh, from the School of Journalism, Media and Communication. She's with us. Yes. Okay. But also to alert you that we are online. We are online. And I want to welcome the online audience that is following this great conference. To also, I hope you're already accessing it. So you can access it through Compassion, and the password will be displayed shortly. I implore our good IT team to the online link that we can follow for the online audience, but also the access link for the Wi-Fi. Now, so what we are going to do as we take a break, we are going to go for a group photo, and from the group photo we can grab a cup of tea, and we will reconvene at 11. Yes, please. The visual team, where are we standing for the group photo? Down there? Okay, so the visual team is going to lead us to where we are going to take that group photo, and then we can. Oh, okay, so the Vice Chancellor has suggested the other side. Thank you.